Hello and welcome to Landon Live. My name's Landon Harvey, and today we have on Australia's #1 comedy ventriloquist, Darren Carr. Darren, how are you doing today?
Fine, thanks, Landon. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
So, Darren, let's go ahead and get right into it. How did you become a ventriloquist?
Interested in puppets and stuff when I was a kid. And then sort of teen years, that got pushed aside for music, so I became a musician.
Okay.
And did that professionally till I was 30. Wow. And then took up, for some reason, midlife crisis and went, I know, I'll become a ventriloquist. So it was actually a couple of years before 30. That's when I started performing. But yeah, I saw a ventriloquist when I was a kid. My dad was a musician at one of the larger clubs, nightclub here in Sydney. So he worked with, lots of Arthur Worsley and
oh, wow.
Ray Allen. A lot of the English ventriloquists used to come out here to work our club circuit. So he worked with a lot of them. And he worked with a guy called Chris Kirby, who was Australian. And he was sort of the guy that I could see on TV most of the time. So that interested me when I was a kid. And, I had a little Pelham puppet, the Pelham ventriloquist doll that my grandmother bought me. But as I said, when I got to 13, forget that. I don't want to play with puppets. I want to be a musician. And, so I did that for years. And then what happened? David Strassman turned up on TV here around the early 90s, I think it was. And I saw him on, and I went, wow, I used to do that when I was a kid. And, I don't know what twigged. I was pretty sick of the music by then. I could see the music industry going downhill. And I was working, still working 5 or 6 nights a week, but it was just, I didn't think I'd want to be singing covers of, of rock songs when I was 60. So I figured find something else to do. And
where were you performing as a musician?
Oh, just around pubs and clubs. And I had a corporate band that was very successful, and I made a really good living at it for years, and then I saw Strassman, and I was still playing at the time, and I was still married at the time, and I thought I'd give this a go, because there's plenty of time off being a musician. You don't do much with your days, and so I started looking into ventriloquism, and one of the other club ventriloquists, there's only a couple in Sydney at the time, a guy called Barry Krause. He gave me a copy of, I think it was called Vent Events or the Mayer Messenger or something like that. It was a little booklet from Mayer Studios. And it was like a leaflet they put out a few times a year. And in it, it mentioned the Ventriloquist Convention. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool. Being ironic, I thought that'd be good to go to, and at the same time, my grandmother bequeathed me some money when she sold her unit and moved in with my mum. So I got some money, and I went, I'm going to put this to good use and go to the Ventriloquist Convention. And so that was 93. I did that. So I think Strassman had been coming out here every year sort of since 1990. So I'd seen him a few times and sort of had an idea of what you were supposed to be like on stage and whatnot, and went to the convention, and that was it. I bought a doll when I was there. I bought Paul Winchell's video and some books, and I met Stephen Knowles and Steve-O, and there was another guy called Stephen Zanofsky. I don't know where he's gone to, but he was a kid's magician / ventriloquist. And when I got back to Australia, he sent me a VHS tape, 3 hours long, and it was all ventriloquists that he'd videoed off HBO and whatnot, of their clips off Comic Strip Live, and
3 hours worth of ventriloquism. Wow.
3 hours worth. So there was clips of Jay Johnson, Dan Horn, Jeff Dunham, Brad Cummings. It was just 3 hours, and all little 5-10 minute bits of each of their acts. And so that got me started. I went, right, this is what you're supposed to do and this is how you do it, and this is how you walk off stage, how you know, just things
Sure.
like that, just seeing different
Yeah, how to present
characters. And
yourself.
it was, and that's all I had. I was stuck in, over here on the other side of the world, and we didn't have all that at that stage.
Yeah.
We didn't have HBO and all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty sure the internet was only sort of just getting into gear. And actually, I remember, the first dealings with Selberg and Mayer was all via mail. You'd send the money through in the post, and there was no email. And so that was interesting. It's like the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what got me started, that '93 convention, and meeting those guys, and the videotape sort of set me on course. I sort of knew what a ventriloquist had to look like and be like, and
so when you had started off, you had a Pelham puppet, and then when you got back into it, what was your first? Did you switch the puppet but keep the character? Or did you just buy an entirely new puppet and say, I'm going to start with this?
Oh, no, that
what was
puppet
your
had
thought?
long gone. I don't know where that puppet went to. That it got thrown out in a garage sale or something. Because I was a musician, I didn't want to play with puppets. That was not cool. So I seem to remember the first figure I got was I got a Mary Ann Taylor duck at the convention. I remember that.
Yes.
And then when I got back, I went right. I started getting I bought a Mayer figure, and then I've had pretty much everything. I think a Hearts and a Alfaro and a Rene. I've had quite a
Wow.
And then I landed on I saw Selberg's ad in one of the magazines, a dialogue magazine, I think it was, and I went, right, that's what I want. I want one of those, and set my sights on it. And lo and behold, only 12 years later, I got it. I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a joke.
It was 14.
No, it's like, I still.
So what was it like?
I still
what was
have
your
him. He's up there somewhere.
What was your first convention like? What was
It was mind-blowing, because I'd never hung around with ventriloquists. I'd never seen ventriloquists work much, and so I got there, and all of a sudden there's sort of, I think there must have been 300-400 people, and it was just incredible. It was those 3 days that I spent there was the best 3 days of my show business life, because I learned so much. I remember Ron Lucas was on the Saturday night show, and that just blew my mind. I'd never seen or heard of him, and I'd never seen or heard of anybody. And all of a sudden at the one convention, I remember seeing it was like Brad Cummings and Dan Horn, Jeff Dunham, Ron Lucas, Jay Johnson. It was just insane. It was insane. And I walked away going, right, I know what to do. And I watched the open mics, so I knew what not to do. And just between the two of those, and I sort of I talked to people and watched all the lectures and did all that, and I think I went back either the next year or the year after. I can't quite remember. Probably would have been the year after, because I had a son by then, so I wouldn't have gone over. But it was just that. Oh, I remember it. I remember it so well. It was meeting all these people that I'd never heard of, that were just insanely talented, and Al Getler.
Well, I'm curious. Where did you start performing as a ventriloquist? Did you do fairs and festivals and then kind of work your way up, or did you do everything when you started, or what was your?
I did a few kids shows. I used to do a little bit of magic, so I did kids shows, the typical birthday parties, and because I was working at night with the band, I couldn't really just dive into jobs. So we have what's called a club circuit out here, and it's sort of mostly it's either they're clubs for veterans, or they're clubs connected to sporting associations. So every suburb in Sydney has 3 or 4 clubs, and a lot of them used to have entertainment. So it's not like a nightclub. They're sort of based on mini casinos, because there's a lot of poker machines, slot machines involved, and there's a restaurant and everything. But most of them used to run shows, and so I entered one of these talent quests that they ran on a Sunday afternoon, and got through that talent quest, or won that afternoon with my 5 minutes of sparkling humor and a song tacked onto the end. And didn't know, but if you won that week, you had to come back the next week. And yeah, pretty much put your crown back on the table and go, right, anyone else want to have a go? Problem was, I won 6 weeks in a row. So I had to go back every week.
6 weeks, wow.
I had to go back with like 5 new minutes of material every week, plus a new song or, you know, extra material. And I did that for 6 weeks. And lo and behold, by the end of it, I had an act. I could do 30 minutes. And every week I was trying to figure out a new way to come on stage, a way to finish the act. And I'd sort of learned all that from being a musician, how to, you know, work out set lists for bands, how to take it up and down. And so I sort of knew what I was doing on stage, but the comedy thing was a whole new thing for me. And so I started doing that. And there was an agent at the grand final of the talent quest, and she said, "Have you got an agent?" And I went, "No." She said, "You have now." And I was working within the month doing jobs around the other clubs, and by that stage I'd finished with the band and I was just playing solo at various pubs, so I could take time off when I wanted. I didn't have to work at night. I could do a ventriloquist show instead. So over the space of sort of 2 years, I went from being full-time musician right through to being full-time ventriloquist.
So you were never a combination of both. You went from one directly to the other.
Well, there was a 2-year period where I sort of started swapping. There was less music jobs and more ventriloquist jobs. I'd obviously take preference over the ventriloquist jobs because they were paying a lot more than the music jobs were. So I could make the same in one night doing ventriloquism as I could working a week as a musician. So if I take the nights off and do that, and I was only probably 2 years into being a ventriloquist, and I started working on cruise ships, and because we had our own sort of ships out here in Australia that did a run, so you could work on them, and you're not really working for international audiences. You're mainly working for Australian audiences, and so that was good because it was the same crowd as I'd used to working for in the clubs. And,
have you noticed a difference in the material that you have to build or the characters that you have to use? Yeah.
Not so much then, but when I moved to doing Princess and Royal Caribbean and Norwegian lines, when you're working for a much more broader audience, a lot of Americans, quite a few Europeans, I really had to change the act.
Is it just the terminology, or is it other?
Yeah,
is it actual
there's certain words.
Okay.
There's certain words that Australians would use that Americans wouldn't understand, and things like that. Most Australians would say, "No, thank you, I'm full. I've had enough to eat," where most Americans probably wouldn't. And I shouldn't talk. Look at the size of me. I am huge. Looks like my neck's blowing a bubble. I did have to change the material somewhat. The main thing I had to do was slow down and enunciate. Yeah, so people could understand. Because I used to talk with a real Australian accent, throw another shrimp on the barbie and all that sort of stuff. And then you didn't get that at all, did you? You're too young for that one.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I used to have to slow down, and I'd start rounding out my words to the point where most of the people on the ships thought I was English, because I used to talk quite proper on stage and pretend to enunciate all my words properly and slowly so people could understand what I was talking about. And
did that ever get annoying, or did you just become used to it? Really? Okay.
No, when you get your paycheck of $2.5 grand at the end of the week, I'm happy to talk like an Englishman for a couple of hours a week. That's not a problem at all. And it was quite bizarre, but it was a good living. And at that time I was single, which is really the only way you could happily work on the ships, I think, is if you're single and you enjoy a drink. And at that stage I did. And so that was sort of did the ships for about 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, still mixed in with a few clubs when I came back to Sydney, but there was times there I was away for a couple of months at a time, and ended up all over the world. Someone had told me like 3 years previous that that's what I'd be doing, I would have laughed in their face. But it was great, and there was a lot of work around that time, and
sure.
a lot of the vents were working ships.
I'm curious, did you find it difficult to go from cruise ships to then land and get your name out there, or was it fairly easy? Really? Okay.
No, because of where I live,
Mm-hmm.
for a long time I was the only ventriloquist.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. So it was something that I wouldn't say it was a business decision. I wanted to do comedy, but I could easily see there's too many comedians out there. So that's probably why I went to ventriloquism.
Mm-hmm.
Just innately thinking in a business sense, that's something no one else is doing.
Sure,
That
makes
would
you
be
more marketable.
Yeah. And that sort of seems to have worked. So I'm certainly not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other vents in Australia that are successfully working, but it's probably maybe 12 at the most that I know of in Australia, and that's including part-timers and all that.
Right,
It's
that's
not a big
everyone.
thing. As I said to you earlier, if we had a convention out here, we could hold it in a phone booth. I know of 3 people apart from myself that do it full time.
Wow.
In the whole country. So that's So it's still pretty much got it wrapped up, which is good.
Yeah, that is. And looking at the comments here, Chance Wolf said, "Hey, Darren, good to see you, man." And then Dale Brown said on your earlier story, he said, "Sorry you had to meet Al Gettler."
Yes. No, everyone was really nice. That's what hit me with the convention. Just, I was a nobody. I didn't know anything about the art, really.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was really nice to me. And so I've still got friends that I met back then, which is lovely, And but everyone that I worked, like seeing Dale Brown work, and he did a lecture, and it was only a few years back. And so I'd been working at this for 20 years already, or whatever it was. And he did a lecture, and I learned so much just in that lecture about writing for characters.
Wow.
And he did a bit with his a jockey puppet at the end. And I was like, that's great. That's fantastic. And I learned so much in that half hour or whatever hour lecture it was. And this was only a couple of years ago. So it was still great. So yeah, thanks for that, Dale. That was one I do remember.
Oh, well, that's great. So 2013, Australia's Got Talent. Talk about that. How did you become part of that? Did they find you? Did you find them? Did you want to do the show? What was your mindset going into this?
I'd been contacted a few years. I think by the time I did it, it had changed stations. It had gone from a different channel. So it had been going a few years. I know Dean Atkinson, who is one of the other vets in here in Australia. He'd done it a couple of years previous, and I'd always said no, because my main work in the last sort of 12 years, I suppose, has just been corporate work. And I didn't think it would be any help for me to do Australia's Got Talent. Sure. It's not going to help in the corporate market at all. And I thought if I don't do well on it, it's probably going to hurt. So I'd said no for a long time. And my reasoning for saying no was they didn't have a judge that was a comedian. All the judges were either washed up reality stars or radio DJs, and really nobody with any discernible talent. And I didn't want one of those telling me that I had no talent. I thought that was a little weird. So they rang once and said, we have Dawn French, who's a well-known comedian in England, and we've got her as one of the judges. What do you say about that? And I said, well, okay, I've said no beforehand, so I'll say yes. And so I said, as long as I don't have to do the audition, I just go straight in. And I also made them promise that if I didn't like my spot, that they wouldn't show it. And
Did you have to get
yeah,
that? Did you have to
they
have them like
okayed that.
sign a contract or something, or how do you?
No. I just sat down with the producer and I said, look, this is where we sit. You guys need me more than I need you. In Australia, it's just there's not a lot of talent compared to America. The population doesn't allow it. So to run a show like that, it's really hard for them to find people that are going to work and work well on TV. And
Well, even in America, you know, the whole America's Got Talent thing seems like more of a question than a title for a show. Seeing some of these acts.
It's the
So,
same. There's a lot of professionals don't want to go on it. They think it might harm
right.
them. You know,
Hmm.
in the end, there's only going to be one winner,
Right.
and it's hard work to do it and make sure you're going to do well on it. It's because it's not up to you. They
Right.
can really make you look like an idiot. And so I just sat down with the producer. I said, "This is where I stand. I'll do it, but these are my provisos." And I don't do the audition. I just go straight in and do the first televised sort of thing. And if I don't like it, you cut me out of the program. You know. So of course I got through. So the ego went, "Oh, I'm not going to cut myself out of the program," even though I didn't really like what I did. I wasn't overly happy with it. It still worked, and it got really good response, and ended up with millions of views on YouTube and all that. So it didn't hurt. But then the second one is when I got screwed. Is that the right terminology? I don't know for the Americans. Yeah.
I get that terminology. Yeah.
Okay. I'd made two dolls to look like two of the judges.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea was for me to bring out my main doll, which is sort of a lookalike of me. And then and he says, I found a couple more dummies you can use. And I open up the case and pull these two little ones out, which was two Goldberg dolls that I'd rehashed to look like two of the judges.
Okay.
And had one sitting on either side of him. And they were both remote controlled from inside his body. I had an aeroplane remote control. So they could both move their mouths. And so I did the rehearsal that afternoon. The producer's going, "That's great. Well, that's hilarious. We love that. Fantastic." And then one of the judges found out before the filming the next day and said, "No, he's not doing that. He's not making a dummy out of me," sort of thing. And so they rang me and said, "You can't do it. Have you got anything else you can do?" And this is like the day of the filming.
Yeah.
And I knew none of my corporate material would work because it's not suitable for family TV.
Right.
Not that it's rude, but it's just.
And also the pacing of the comedy too.
Well, you've got 2.5 minutes, so you've got to go bang, and you've got to have this, and you've got to have that. Yeah. So I'm at home thinking, well, the toucan worked. I can use the animatronic toucan, that'll work, and what else? I can't just use him again, you know. So I thought, what's going to be fine for family? So I had the baby sitting up there, actually, still up there.
Yep.
And I thought I could get those two to work, but I just didn't have time to write it and rehearse it like I want to. And so I can't watch it nowadays. I find it horrific. You can see me floundering. I don't know what to do, but you know. But that being said, I probably could have done better from my end. But then it's all about the TV. So it's, you know, they were happy, and it went to a tiebreaker or something. Me versus a guy that he was in a wheelchair. He had a back injury, but he was able to climb a rope, and that was his talent. And it was between me and him, and so he got the audience vote.
Right.
Even though we had to rehearse that for the live show.
Huh.
We had to rehearse standing there. I had to go back in and stand there so I could be told you didn't win. And
so they let you know before they even do the live show.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they were afraid I was going to say something, but I. So
did this guy? Did he do shows or anything like rope climbing shows, or I don't? He was just
no.
Outside
he was inspirational from what he did. You know, he was
right.
You know, and but yeah, that's still one of the things. Australia's got talent.
Mm-hmm. Well, even even in America, sometimes it's more, the sad story background, and then it's
Oh, it's
like
all about
half
the.
and half, or sometimes yeah.
And I didn't have a background, My
Right.
dad played the piano, and I've had a comfortable life.
Hmm.
That was my story. So
That's your sob story, yeah.
as opposed to his horrific car accident that he had and his broken back, and yeah. So it's I totally get it. It's all about the ratings and keeping people engaged in the show and all that.
It'd
So
be funny to have a dummy with like a sad backstory.
I didn't think about that at the time. But they ring me every year. It's now on a different channel,
Hmm.
and it's on its third channel now. And because it lasts about 3 or 4 years, and then the excitement peters out. In fact, Britain's Got Talent airs here, and that does better ratings than Australia's Got Talent. So even Australians know we lack talent as far as enough to cover 4 or 5 years of a show goes. That's for sure. But yeah, so it is what it is. There's no television for me over here now. It's just we don't have a big 90% of the shows we see are American or English. We don't. We have some Australian shows, but there's no live variety shows, or there's no Comedy Central live sort of thing, anything like that. There's nowhere to be.
Right.
It's pretty much like that throughout the world, I guess. But it's quite sad, really. But I'm
So
lucky.
did you find that being on the show helped you with getting gigs afterward, or was it just more of an experience type thing?
It was a good experience. That was not bad, but
Right.
I don't really know. It helped me get gigs because, as I said, the corporate market was totally different. I don't expect businessmen to be sitting at home watching Australia's Got Talent. So people do mention it still, which amazes me. I got an email the other day from some guy in England, and his kids watch me on YouTube, the YouTube clips. This is 7 years ago.
Wow.
And they're 4 and 3, and they think I'm hilarious, which is nice. So I did a little video for them and sent it off. So to think it's still 7 years later, and I'm entertaining people that weren't even born when it was on. That's sort of nice, I suppose. I don't get any money for it, but hey, be nice to get some residuals.
Well,
it got up to at one stage it was 16 million views all up of the 3 or 4 different clips that were on, which I found pretty amazing. And people will still mention it when they introduce me at a corporate function, which is rather annoying. That's my claim to fame. I'm not tooting my own horn, but out here we have what we call Mo Awards and ACE Awards, which are the club industry awards for performers. And I've won Performer of the Year 5 times in Australia. They never mention that.
Right.
They just mentioned
Australia's Got Talent.
But
wow.
I didn't even get through to the grand final. So it was a little weird, but anyway, hey, it is what it is. I'm lucky now. I just do corporate, so I'm comfortable, and I don't have to rely on TV or anything like that. There's a lot of guys that do, and since the clubs and the comedy clubs have passed away, they're relying on cruise ships, and now they can't even do that because they're all in dry dock or wherever. So yeah, it's a rather sad state of affairs at the moment if you're a performer. But
well, what was it like for you to write for corporate audiences? Because from what I've talked to other people, they say it's very difficult because you have to be clean, but then you also have to, be funny, and there's that fine line.
Yeah, when I say corporate audiences, I mean everything from major companies doing conferences right through to sports awards nights for the local football team or whatever. So it's not the one act for the whole group, although they are all only just people. They're nothing special. They've just got different walks of life. So they all pretty much will laugh at the same thing. It's just the variance of the political correctness does waver a lot. So what I've decided to do was write the one act, and then just the level of a language and the level of what would you call it? My demeanor changes. So if I go into a sports awards night, so they're all sportsmen who play, football or whatever they're playing, cricket, golf, whatever. They're usually workers. They're usually blue collar, and being an Australian, they're a bit more, g'day, they're a bit more Paul Hogan, how are you? And so you can give them a bit of language, but you've also got to change your demeanor. If you go in there wearing a suit and you're all done up and you're, good evening, how are you? Nice to see you. And they're all like, it's not going to work. Right. So I take the tie off, and just go in and, opening line is usually, quieten down, shush, quiet. This might be a night out for you. This is a career for me. So you're on the same level as them.
Sure, right.
They'll pay attention. Oh, but I don't do that when I walk into, the Sydney Convention Centre for whoever. I did a Qantas function. They're all, all done up in they're dressed better than they dress when they're actually working on the planes. So they're all in formal gear, and it's a big night out for them, and there's 800 of them, and you have to walk on stage with the demeanor of, good evening, it's lovely to be here. It's what a financial pleasure this is, and all that sort of stuff. With that demeanor. So so I can do the same act. I'll still do
same characters and everything.
Yeah. Wow. And just even change the demeanor of the doll. My doll is multiple personality because I have to do the same. It's it just seems to work that way. I've got a lot of dolls. I've got 2 shelves full of Selbergs here, and the Chance Wolf #1, and I think a little Donald Trump behind my head there, and so I've got everything. And even the one I use mainly, he's there. Let's angle this. He's getting a repaint and a re-wig now that we're not working.
Yes.
And I'm working on a couple of others at the moment. But that's the one I use most of, unless I'm traveling. Then I have a smaller version that I'm rebuilding at the moment. But it's still the same doll. The only way I'll use a different doll, the Selberg, all these get used, by the way. I do other jobs. So I do a lot of country music.
You're not a
stuff.
collector.
I'm not a collector. I just I do a lot of stuff for country music. What do you call them? Festivals.
Sure, so you have characters that are appropriate for those audiences.
Yeah, and just a lot of stuff. I might get to I did a big. Sorry, my brain's not working today. What do they call them? The grey nomads, the people with the motorhomes. So they have a big convention. They end up with 1,000 people with 500 motorhomes in a paddock somewhere, and they'll put a stage up. But they're all over 60, over 70, these people. So I take the old man and the old woman with me, and so all these get used. The other main one that gets used is the Selberg. I don't know what he calls him. He used to call him Olaf, like a drunk character with a big nose. And
he's great
looking character. Well, he's multiple professions. So if I go to do like a plumbing convention, I'll dress him up as a plumber.
Okay.
So I'll still do my normal act, but there'll be an extra 5 or 6 minutes, and I usually start with them. So I'll introduce him as someone likes to say a few words from the industry.
Oh, so you start with that custom material.
I'll come out and say, good evening, it's a pleasure to be here. I won't say I'm a ventriloquist. I'll just, before we get started, I would like to just introduce one of your industry members to have a few minutes to talk with you about something exciting coming up. And invariably he'll come out half drunk and not know what the hell he's talking about. But he'll be dressed appropriately. So he's been everything from a jockey through to a plumber. He's got a full outfit, like he's dressed like a golfer. He's been a football referee, an insurance broker. So I just
Wow.
dress him in a different outfit.
Yeah.
And it's invariably the same act, although I'll certainly find a couple of jokes to do with that industry. And but it normally works better if he just mentions a couple of names, or he mentions the boss.
Sure.
And when I have that done in the first 5 or 6 minutes, then I'm free to do my act.
Sure. And I'm sure it also kind of breaks the ice between you and the audience.
Oh, for sure.
That, they can relate to, and then they're okay with the fact that you're a ventriloquist, and then you can go into your other material.
Yeah. Well, it's just something I just learned a long time ago, and I think it was when I started to work the ships, that not all audiences are the same. You've got to really alter your act slightly towards the audience. Don't expect them just to love you, because they might not like what you are. So I try and make it just the way I dress, the way I talk, the material, as far as mainly the level of the language. Here in Australia, you can still swear, especially at sporting functions and things like that. It's still totally acceptable. You've still got to be politically correct. Don't get me wrong, but you still use language, and so I just add language to the act. And he'll sort of say the same jokes, the same punchlines, but they'll just be, the few extra words just help it push it in that direction of the style of audience that you've got in front of you. So that's the way I work anyway.
Wow. Well, we have Sherry Brown Rosner said, "What a great entry," and I think so too. That's really neat. I like how you open with that. That's truly great. Can you talk a little bit about your process for writing for characters?
I don't really have a process. As I said, I've got the set act that I use most of the time. It's been the same basic act for a lot of years. It keeps changing, but I don't sit down and actually do that. Might be another line or an ad lib that happens, and that will stay in the act, and another line just disappears because the ad lib that I used worked better than the line, so I'd actually sit down and write. When I have the multiple character doll, I'll just get on the internet and go type in plumbing or painters or builders or whoever I'm working for, and just find 3 or 4 jokes that pertain to that particular. I've got quite a catalogue now. I can look up in my computer builders, and there's a few lines there, or even got funeral directors. So I've done a few jobs for them, and I'm pretty much covered now. So I don't write a lot nowadays. I'll still buy every joke book that comes out. I try to watch a lot of comedy. As far as I watch a lot of sitcoms, because sitcoms are more dialogue based. So it's I don't watch a lot of stand up, because they're all joke based, or it doesn't really work well in a situation with 2 people talking. So a lot of our sitcom, Frasier and stuff like that, were brilliantly written, and written for 2 people to be talking, and so the jokes are set up perfectly for 2 people.
I love Frasier. Yeah, it's truly interesting how these sitcoms are character driven, and then when they do have the jokes, that just adds on and layers the character.
Oh yeah. Well, Frasier was always coming in contact with different people. Any sitcom is. Everyone loves Raymond. It's always something different. It's and they're just lines. They're just lines, but it's the way they're constructed and written, and they're perfect for ventriloquist routines. And I just don't feel that. Jeff Dunham does it really well. He's just a master of being able to write something that he doesn't really have to interact with the doll all that much. It's just he's just doing a setup, and then the Walter or whoever does the brunt of the joke.
It's interesting that you say that, because you see a lot of, especially with the professionals and that are working ventriloquists today, you see different, just like you see comedians, you see different styles of ventriloquists. So
Well,
you
Jeff's
have
very
Jeff
joke,
Dunham, which is like a
joke, joke,
stand-up.
joke, joke, joke.
Exactly. He's like a stand-up
Yeah,
punch, and he's like a stand-up comedian with a puppet. And then you have, Dan Horn, which is he's got jokes, but it's more situational comedy
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
physical comedy. What would you define your style?
I don't know. It's probably more joke driven than anything.
Okay.
A lot of a lot of my work too is also MC work and stuff like compere work for conferences and stuff like that. And I do a lot of one-liner jokes. And so I think one-liners a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if I come up with a joke for the dolls, I usually have to embellish it to make it more interesting as a joke for me and a puppet. Because all I'm thinking is one
Are
line.
you saying, you think of it as a one-liner and then you have to rewrite it to
I
fit?
have to, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So look, I enjoy one-liners more than anything, and so that's why I enjoy Jeff's work, because it's very one-liner based. It's
Yeah.
set up and punch, set up and punch. Someone like Jay Johnson works more of a continual conversation. There's very little set up, punch.
And he kind of embellishes on the backstory of the character. If he
Yeah,
brings out a
yeah,
monkey or whatever,
yeah. Well, I just find the corporate audiences they don't like that for some reason out here. You've got to be bang, 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 bang. You've got to be in their face. And so that's why I tend to work like that. And I have so many one-liners and stuff written down and in my head now that I'm set in that way. And just before the lockdown, I did a job, and the old story where I went to Melbourne and the doll went to Adelaide. And so I'm stuck at a job, no puppet. It's not going to make the job. And so they said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm fine. I'll just do stand-up. And they were like, what? I said, yeah, So I just went on and did 40 minutes of stand-up. And then just got a guy up at the end and squeezed the back of his neck and said, that's what I normally do. And so not only did they really like it, but they booked me back the following year. They've already booked me in for next year to do my actual act. So yeah, it's a plus having that.
So I'm curious. Did you just take the puppet material and convert it back to one-liners, or did you have your own 45 minutes of stand-up that you could just pull from?
No, it's got my own 45 minutes of stand-up, and it's not set and written. I just have little blocks. So it'll be jokes about being fat, or the fact that I'm not married anymore. Just that. And it's just stuff I've collected over the years from books and stuff. Just old one-liners, and I'm not ashamed to use old jokes because they're only old if you haven't heard them before. No, that's not right. They're only old if you've heard they're yeah. Anyway, so I just I don't know why I remember these jokes. I just do. They go in there, and for some reason they just stay there, and when they need to come out, they can. And there was another job not too long ago, and I got there, and they booked another act, and the other act didn't turn up. So they're like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" They booked another comedian, and he didn't show. And I just said, "Well, I can do more if you want. I already done 45, but I just said, look, if you really need more entertainment for the night." And I just got up on stage and did 45 minutes of stand-up. And for some reason, I found it easy. I don't know why. There must be a lot of stuff up there, but it doesn't get used a lot. It just stays in there. Don't ever ask me to go on stage, and then I'll say, how long you want me to do? And they go, oh, as much as you want. Don't ever say that to me, because there's a good chance I'll be there 3 hours later. It's just
put you on a time limit.
What they call it, verbal diarrhea that just keeps coming out. Just like, blah. Excuse that, please. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I had seen a video of that you'd done a corporate audience, and you would open with about 15 minutes or so of stand up, and then you brought out the puppet, and it was the same level, but it was interesting to see your style as a stand up comedian, and then how it transferred to a ventriloquist.
Yeah, I've got to work on that. I think there's It's just because I'm so comfortable doing it now that I don't really think too much about it.
Sure.
And I've got to really try and get more of a personality for the doll. I think it's not. There doesn't seem to be too much of a gap between me and him.
No, but what I
Then
was
again,
saying is it doesn't seem hacky. I mean, it doesn't seem like I've done my stand up. Now let me get, little Bobby or whatever and pull,
oh right,
Yeah, it's very
yeah,
natural
yeah,
and
yeah.
very,
Look, I lost the will about 10 years ago to try and what would be the word? Not entertain, but try and make the audience love me.
sure.
It's I'm a performer. You must love me. It's like no, they're here, and I'm the last thing on their mind. If it's a corporate audience, they've come to drink on the boss's dime. They've come to eat on the boss's dime. They want to network. They want to try and connect up with that girl that they can't talk to at the office because you're not allowed to do that anymore. And it's all there's 1,000 other reasons. If it's an awards night, they're there to strut their stuff because they won this award. And I am the last reason that they would be sitting there. So when they everyone's had a lot of alcohol and they've had a feed and they've been sitting there 3 hours, and then suddenly the guy goes, all right, before we bring the band on, we got a ventriloquist. You can see people's eyes roll in the back of their head. Like, what? Why? Didn't we do well this year? Why are they doing this to us?
Do you
And
have him ever introduce you as a comedian? Or do you like the fact that you get that response and then you're able to like flip
no,
their
no,
expectation?
I just tell them, just say we've gotten some entertainment for you. Please welcome, Darren Carr. That's it. They can't mess it up. They do still, but don't say you're a comedian. Then the expectation's there for you to be funny. Right. Don't ever say ventriloquist because they're going to hate you from the word go. Generally, not hate you, but just not be into it. And so I don't do any of that. Just introduce me some entertainment. I walk out and immediately do the self-deprecating humor. Immediately start off with what a pleasure it is, financial pleasure it is to be here. I know what the ladies are thinking. Oh, finally something to look at. I'm sorry, girls, but I'm married. And it'll have to be your place. Just stuff like that. Just stuff that's stupid. And I'm not having a go at them. I'm having a go at me.
Right.
So that stops them from having a go at me because I'm already doing it to myself. And I'll do all the fat jokes. And then I'll just gradually just lean in and mention the fact that I'm single, and do jokes about that. It's just a couple of jokes, and then I just finish up by saying, well, the reason I'm single is probably because I'm a ventriloquist, and by that time they're used to me. So me saying I'm a ventriloquist is just nothing. It's like, well, this couldn't get any worse. We've already got this. This fat middle-aged guy spruiking about how he's single. What could be worse? And so when you pull the doll out, it's actually something different for them,
Sure.
And then he starts having a go at me and having a go at the audience and doing the old shtick, and it ends up I get so annoyed with him I put him away, and then I'm sure we can do better. What else are we going to do? And we have to try something different, and then I get I've got this really new idea. I might share it with you, right? I get a person on stage and I put a mask on them.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell anyone. It's hilarious.
It's
You've
great.
got to see it. I'm sure no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Ron Lucas
do that. Not anymore.
Well, yeah. Well, I remember seeing that in '93. I think Ron Lucas did it then. And I was like, wow, that's a great idea. That's, and that at the time, no one else was doing it. It was just Ron, and then Bill Bowley was selling the mask with the pull string under the table. And so I got one of them, and that was, I don't know. So that would have been 95 or something like that. Was that 25 years ago?
Wow.
So it's been a bit of a thing. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't, but anyway, I did the mask routine at a Vegas convention. When was that?
Was it the
Early
Vent convention in
2000s?
Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah, there was
one
a
by
couple of,
Valentine Vox.
yeah, there was a couple of years there where they didn't run the convention in Kentucky. So Valentine
I think
picked it
that
up.
was a separate convention.
It was a separate convention, yeah.
Mhm.
But for some reason, I don't know why they didn't run the convention in Kentucky, but they just didn't. It was one or 2 years, and Valentine picked up the mantle and decided to do one. And then he ran. I think he ran 5 years, maybe. Yeah, but I remember going to the Vegas one, and I did the mask routine there, and it just so happened there was a young lady in the audience who was just starting. She was there with her dad, Tom Conti, the actor, and yeah.
Man.
So I don't know if
Wow.
there's any connection to that, but I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but that's my recollection. I do remember meeting Nina at there. She'd never been to one before, and it was all new to her, and her dad was with her. And yeah, look, I probably wasn't the only one doing the mask there, but that's my recollection. And it's a great story when people go, "I've seen that girl on the TV do the mask thing before." And I go, yeah.
Yeah, now she pulls out this giant rack of masks with like made by
Oh
every
yeah.
possible maker. Yeah.
I went to see her in Melbourne at a comedy festival a few years back, and I got there late, just as the show was starting, and the guy at the front door said, "Are you by yourself, sir?" And I went, "Look at me, of course I am." And he said, "I've got one seat left," and of course it was down the middle in the front row, right on the aisle. Yeah. So when it came time for the, I need someone to help me. What about you? And I was like, you really don't want to get me up. And she went, "Oh, come on. And people started going, come on. And so I got up and I went, just play it straight, Darren. Just don't say anything. She said, "What do you do for a living?" And I can't remember what I said, plumber or something like that. Just,
Right.
and then, and I did the whole thing and did the dance and, and I talked to her later and she said, "I'm actually a ventriloquist." She went, "Oh." But,
Did she recognize you from the Vegas convention?
I mentioned it, but she didn't. But that's hardly surprising. Look what she looks like. Look what I look like. Yeah. She's not going to remember me. No. But that was, yeah. So that was 2000, maybe 2002. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm very bad on dates. Yeah.
Wow. We have a
Anyway.
comment from Damian James. He's asking, what do you think will be the new mask now that we can't do it anymore?
Well, Damien, who makes fantastic masks. I have one of his massive.
His stuff is so cool. How when you have the lips
Man, this thing
close and
is
they all that movements are insane.
this thing is. I'm trying to find out where it is. It's up in a case somewhere up here.
Yeah,
I packed
Damian's doing
everything
some
away.
killer work.
Yeah, once I stopped working and I knew we weren't going to work for a few months, I put everything away because I figured it's just going to get dusty otherwise. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I've got Damien's mask and I'm changing the remote control to foot operated. Yeah, so he's got a little trigger hand thing that works because remote control mask. Right. And so I'm making it foot operated so I can play the guitar and they can sing while I play the guitar.
Oh, that's great.
So that's my if we go back to working and people aren't running and screaming when I try to put a mask on them, that's what I want to aim at. That'll be my little mask routine. I don't know if anyone else is doing that, but I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it done. I've seen almost everything out there.
Yeah, so there's that. But that's the problem. You come up with an audience participation routine without a mask that's a difficult thing to come up with, I think. Without delving into the other stuff. Taylor Mason's sumo is just genius.
Yeah,
when he gets the big sumo wrestler, that's wow. That's really the only way you could.
And even I think he's retired that too a while back.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't sort of I don't watch much, but I remember that being on that initial videotape years ago, and that was amazing. That was a great bit. But yeah, try and come up with something like that is really hard. I did have an idea a while back of putting a remote system in my puppet, in my main Daryl doll, and that way I could say he could say, like, I'm, the Strassman sort of thing, I'm sick of you, but I wouldn't leave. I just go, look, you think anyone can do this and get someone up on stage, and they put their hand inside him, yet I've still got control of the mouth from a remote. So they could move his head and all that around his eyes. They could even move the mouth thing, but it wouldn't activate. I'd have control of the mouth.
That's a different way to play it. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's done that, but that's just trying to think about.
That'd be hilarious. The person has no idea what they're doing, and they're
but they're getting the beautiful thing is they're getting all the laughs. To the audience, it looks as though they're doing it. They're getting all the laughs, and suddenly they're controlling your figure, but he's still saying whatever he wants to you and to them, and But
I know Terry Fader in Vegas. He has his Elvis impersonator character call out someone. There's this whole bit on how his Elvis impersonator now knows how to do ventriloquism because he's been in Terry's show forever and watched him do it. So he calls up this person from the audience, and they put a mask on him, and then the puppet does the mask bit, and then I think Terry leaves the stage, and the guy's still on the stage, and they do that whole Strassman bit, but the whole switch on it is that he doesn't come to life, and he's just there. And then Terry comes back on, and he goes, "Well, were you expecting him to actually come to life?" It's like great. I love that because you've seen like all these ventriloquists do it where they have their remote control dummy, and man,
I was trying to come up with something different. That's the mask is going to be the hard thing. Will people want to put a mask on? And it's just like I don't know. It's too hard to say. We're pretty easygoing out here in Australia. I don't think I'm going to have a problem. I'll do a joke about it. I might even put a surgical mask on before I put their mask on them. Just to some way of doing it. But I don't think they'll gel. I don't really think they'll worry about it. But we'll wait and see. And see. Was the other? I was thinking of something else, so it's gone now. That's all right. It's just old age.
Can you talk a little bit about, because I believe, who was it? Was it? It was Dale Brown that had commented earlier about Convention 2018 and how you were the only person he's ever seen. He said, Darren is the only person I know who purchased a puppet in the dealer's room and then used it in his act a day later, ... and killed with it. What a creative pro. Can you talk about the story leading up to that?
Well, I was traveling around the States. I didn't want to just go to the States and then go home. I think I went to Magic Live as well, the magician convention, a couple of weeks later in Vegas. So I didn't want to carry a puppet around everywhere with me. And so I knew I'd want to buy a puppet because that's what you do when you go to the convention. You never have enough puppets. And I've got pretty much all the same characters in Mary Ann Taylor versions.
Oh, really?
So if I have to travel and I'm traveling to a festival and I have to take like 5 or 6 characters with me because I'm doing 3 days, I'll pack the Mary Ann Taylors because that way I can put them all in one case. It's lightweight. I can throw it in the plane. I don't have to carry heads and all that sort of stuff. So I've got the same characters in Mary Ann Taylor puppets.
I think you're the first person I've talked to that does that, where they've got soft puppet backups.
Well, it's just there's been too many times where the dolls have gone missing on the plane, or and it's not so much I can do anything about that, but they cost money and they're expensive, and to travel with these you've got to have proper cases, and I've got a garage full of trunks and everything, and it's just too hard. So the
nice thing about the soft puppets, is that, and I actually build soft puppets as well, is that since their foam bodies are, I think Marianne's are bleach bottles, you can come pack them up pretty, you can put them side by side in a duffel, and then
I've got
over that or whatever. So
I've got a large a large suitcase, and I can fit 5 into that. So it's and if you're traveling, you're only allowed 2 pieces of baggage and all that sort of stuff. So that's one.
There's like a
And I've
weight
got clothes.
requirement.
Yeah. So it's just a lot easier for me. And a lot of the time I'll have to double up, and I'll be flying here and flying in out of there, and then having to go there. And so I can have the dolls just sitting in the cars. I don't have to redress them. I don't have to do anything. It's all just set, So when I got there, I thought I'll see what's in the dealer's room. And Selberg wasn't there, so that saved me a lot of money to begin with. But I think I've pretty much got every one of his anyway. And I don't think Chance was there either. Chance had been there the previous year, but he wasn't there this year. And and I was sort of looking at the Marianne Taylor. She had a great one, and it was sort of like the Olaf character from Selberg. Had the big nose, and he had these little wires with blowflies on it. So it looked like he was covered in blowflies, and I went, "Oh, that's perfect for Australia." I can use him big time. And
Top belly too, and everything. Yeah.
Look, I just knew I was gonna find some puppet, and if not, just borrow a puppet. I already knew in my brain what I wanted to do. I checked with a few people and realized that no one had ever put the mask on the puppet. So I figured that was going to be my ending. So I knew it would be better to have a soft puppet to do that. It would have been easier to put it on a soft puppet than a hard puppet.
Probably helps more.
Yeah. And I also knew that on the show was Phil Hughes and Keith Hadrill. And so I knew they'd both be doing pretty much all vent stuff. And I thought, well, it's not going to hurt if I do a little bit of stand-up at the beginning and then sort of do half and half, do half stand-up, half vent. So I knew I didn't need to do part of my act or anything, and I knew I'd have time to write it when I got there and rehearse it and all that. So I bought the puppet on the first day, and then Shane West lent me his mask, and it was I think I borrowed his suitcase as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I'd done the shows before at the convention, so I knew it wasn't. There was no pressure. As long as you were funny and entertaining, you didn't have to do your act. This is the way I thought about it. Mind you, the look on Mark Wade's face was a little different when he found out that I hadn't packed my act. But I thought he was a little worried. But he said afterwards it was great. So, but yeah, I just sort of knew I'd have it covered anyway. And I knew I had the stand-up was great at the beginning. I knew that all that stuff was solid. I've been using that for years. So it's just a matter of bringing the doll out, having him say a few funny things, and then putting the mask on him and that not working out. I knew that would be funny enough to be entertaining for, vents and non-vents. But I also knew that for the vents, it would be the in-joke to put the mask on the doll. Right. I thought that'd be sort of cute. So I asked a few people and I went, well, I've never seen it done. So I knew I was safe with that. But yeah, I was a bit of a stupid thing to do, not turn up with a doll to a ventriloquist convention. But, I came home
with one. Great story. And it's neat. It's a neat thing that you arrive with nothing and create and you kill. I mean, it was great.
It was nice. It's always a nice audience there. It's just they want you to kill. That's the great thing. It's not like a corporate audience where they're going, come on, fat boy, entertain us. How good are you? This is they're going, come on, yeah, and they'll clap and cheer for you if they like you, which is great. So it's very memorable doing stuff like this. Do
you have a favorite character with you that you could show us?
Well, as I said, this one's being Let me take this out of the socket. Can I do this without turning the phone off? I'll just carry the whole tripod, maybe. Oops, that's all gone. All right, so here we go. So this is my Selberg wall, the wall that Tim built. There's every conceivable Selberg, and most of them have had something done to them.
Okay.
So that was a boy. That was his, I don't know what he calls Sammy, I think he calls it. Oh. So I changed that to a girl. That was not too hard to do. I built those. Have had a good experience with those in the past. And
Now Samantha. Yeah.
so that's my country scene, because I do a lot of country stuff. So
Okay.
that's got the boots and everything. So that's crystal chandeliers, and that was that was a Tim Selberg nerd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I reshaped the nose. I don't know if you can see that. I reshaped the nose on that.
Yes.
Turned it into an old lady. Yeah, so I tinker with them all. He's had a bit of a facelift and everything. There's Trump. I don't know if I want to use him or not. What else? We go down here further. Sorry, I'm not really good with the camera. Just take that out of there. And underneath here, there's a whole heap. There's the Chance Wolf one, and there's it's quite a few others under there. I don't know if you can see them. I can't see the.
Yeah, we can see them.
There's an old Insel that I picked up recently out here that I'm going to do up. This is the main Daryl. This is the one I made him about 20 years ago. Thanks to Joel Leader. Actually, I saw Joel Leader work, and he had the dummy that looked like him. And he also was at that convention. He did a talk on making a doll and whatnot. And so I bought his books and came home and made it myself.
Wow.
Because he'd already quoted me like $5,000 or something to make one, and I think Tim Selberg was $10,000 to make one. So I thought,
so what did you build him out of? Is it wood or is it a composite? Or
I did a clay sculpture, and then did the casting and everything. So it's still all set up here to do.
That's
all
amazing.
that.
That's super neat.
Well, it was mother of invention, unfortunately, because it was either that or spend the money, which I didn't have, and I didn't know if that character would work or not.
I'm curious. Do you find it easier to perform with something that you've built, or is it just as much?
Doesn't bother me.
It's just the same for you. Okay.
Some of the Selbergs, I've altered the controls on the head stick, so I'll just I'll put a like if the eyebrows are on the forefinger, I'll move them around to the other side of the head post. I just drill it and put another tube on, and it can be pretty messy, but look, the old man. No,
this is an interesting thing too about taking a stock character and customizing it to make it your own thing in your show.
Sorry about the bad camera work. Here we go. So here, let's find here. So that's the Selberg head stick.
Yeah.
So what I did was I moved the upper lip, so it's right next to the mouth control.
Huh. Okay.
So I can open the. It used to be right around here on the other side. Can you see that? There we go.
Now we can see it.
Yeah. So I moved it all the way around, so it's right next to the mouth control. So you can open the top lip and the mouth at the same time with one finger.
Oh, that's neat.
Because you couldn't do it before. You'd have to use two fingers, which means you couldn't raise his eyebrows, or you had just
right now you can get a lot more movements. Yeah.
Yeah, my thumb just controls his mouth, whether it be the bottom lip or the top lip, and I can do both, or I can do either. Wow. So I just like tinkering with stuff like that, which is fun. And I'm building a travel Daryl at the moment. So that's the cast. I did
wow,
just a smaller version of me that just to make traveling easier. If I pack it into the problem with the wolf figure, which is I use quite a lot of the time, is that it just won't pack up small enough to fit in an overhead bag for the flight. Yeah. So I'm trying to make a smaller one. That way the head will actually go inside the body. Take the head out of and the head will go inside the body, and then that will fit into an overhead bag. So that way when I travel, because I travel at least once a week, I'll be on a flight somewhere. and I don't have to worry about the doll going somewhere where I'm not going, and I don't have to worry about it getting damaged.
Yeah.
It'll just fit in the little overhead container. So,
You know what's interesting is I had seen a mashup of an Alfaro figure with a Marion Taylor body, and that
oh yeah,
the idea of that always intrigued me because it seems like that would be easy if you're traveling or whatever, or even just building a soft body out of foam that you can easily compact, and then you have the head, and you can even use the body as padding.
Oh yeah. Well, that's yeah. Well, I've got this one, which is the original Selberg that I bought. And I've done the same to him. I shortened the head stick and carved a bit out of the body, so his head does fit into his body now. So I can take it out, take the head out, put it inside the mold of the body, and he just fits into that little overhead bag. And that's why I sort of thought, when I get some time, I'm going to make a smaller version of me that'll fit into a bag. And lo and behold, I've now got some time.
Well, it's super neat to see your workshop and what you're working on. Chance Wolf just commented, "Damn, Darren, you build better than all of us."
No, I don't. Up close, they're not real clear. They're not great quality up close, that's for sure. But they work for me, and I learned from looking at everybody else's stuff. The first thing I did when I got a Selberg was open up the back of their head and go, "How's he doing that?" And how can I change this around so it suits me better and all that. So everything I've sort of done has just been out of necessity, because it's too hard to send stuff back to the States. It cost me a couple of $100 and takes time, and then so it's just easier for me just to try it here, and so I've been pretty lucky that I can do it.
Sherry Brown Rosner is
it's not
asking
something I
why.
want to do for.
Well, Sherry Brown Rosner asks, why did you make the stick shorter?
Just so it fit in the case.
Okay.
That's all. So I've got. I don't know how to flip this around, so I can. Doesn't matter.
You might be able to tap the screen and hit maybe a reverse camera if it's on it.
No, it's not doing anything. Then again, my phone hardly works these days because my fingers usually covered in super glue. And so the touch doesn't work. So I have this little bag.
That. Yeah, I've got a 400-degree hot glue gun that I'm always working with. So.
Oh yeah. So I cut down this music stand and made a top with this little flange on it. So that fits in the overhead case. So I don't have to worry about that. Or there's quite a few times I found the flange that fits a microphone stand. So I made a little piece of wood. And it's got the little flange on the bottom, so I can just grab a microphone stand anywhere I go.
Oh, that's great.
But the other thing too is a lot of function places don't have a microphone stand anymore. So I'm used now to doing my act just holding the microphone, which is annoying. But that to be said, what was I doing? Oh yeah, him. So I can take his head out of the body. And grab his body, fold it up into the case like that, and then his head fits neatly inside his body.
Wow, that's great. And it's you just add wow, that you don't even need any. It like pads it by itself. That's
no,
really
there's padding in there. The top also pads it, and I cut a little bit out of the base of his behind. Actually, it's not even this body. Actually, I've swapped bodies on him. Sorry, the one's still in the case. The actual body I use, but it sits right in there. So the whole thing will go into where is it? There we go. It goes into the overhead bag with the little stand, and unfortunately, mother of invention and this necessity. I just
that's great.
So a lot of the time now, if I'm doing a sportsman's lunch or something in Melbourne, I'll put my suit on at home and I'll pack up my little bag and drive straight to the airport, stay in my suit all day, and just pull him out and do my 30 minutes and fly home again. You know, it's.
When do you decide that you're going to build a character for your show versus having one built or buying
Well, I
one?
don't like building.
Okay.
So yeah. Actually, even this bench that's here wasn't here a few weeks ago. It was like, what do I need to do? And I know I need to paint a few
Right.
dolls and get them fixed. I need to fix a nose on one. I've got to fix a hand on another. And I knew I wanted to build the little Daryl, the travel size one.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, first off, build another bench, make myself some room. Because I've only got a small workbench here, so there's not a lot of workspace.
Right.
So yeah, it was like put another bench up. So I don't build. I don't. This is purely thanks to COVID-19. This is this is the way it's attacked me. Is that okay? I need to get all this bits and pieces done. Let's do it now. Make a mess over the next month. Get everything, and I'm not good at it. I'm not. It was nice a chance to say that, but look, there's one casting, and there's another one because the other one didn't work, and there's these ones up here because none of them worked. So it's just I finally found one casting that came out all right. And so that's the one I'm working on at the moment. Did the mouth last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it looks great, but they're just rubber. They're one of those little rubber hand toys that you can buy, the mouth.
Oh, really?
Just
clever.
cut out the teeth and the tongue of those, and then realised that the pivot point wasn't far back enough in the head, so the mouth wouldn't go down at the right angle. So hence the bits out the back and the extra bit of brass, just to change the pivot point so it'll sit properly in the head.
Sure.
So just little things like that. And then I've got two nice eyeballs here from Tech Optics. One is absolutely beautiful, and the other one is covered in super glue. Because I'm not very good at doing this. So I have to, Chance, if you know how to get dried super glue off an acrylic eyeball from Tech Optics, that'd be a big help, because I don't want to attack it with anything that's going to melt the eyeball. But it's all just pure, what would you call it? Trial and
innovation.
error.
Okay. Yeah.
Trial and error. Yeah.
Sure.
But I enjoy doing it. But I build one and then I'm like, no. So it took me it took me a while. That was the original. There's the original. I'll get them away from the sun. I tried to do a living mouth version of me, and Austin was helping me out, but I just couldn't get the leather to work as well as I'd want it to, and he looks a bit creepy too. So since then, I've done a different sculpt, and so I'll turn him into another character. I'll whack a beard on him and put him in some hippie clothes or something. I don't know. He'll get used some way or another. That's so. Yeah, luckily I can do this, and luckily I'm single, as I mentioned. So it's I've got all the time in the world to do this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully, with any luck, we're starting to get things opening up here again. We've been pretty lucky. We've only had not even 100 deaths in Australia with the COVID. So it's been pretty well contained here. And so hopefully some things will start opening up soon, and we can go back to doing shows, because at the moment there's nothing. There's nothing. Yeah. I remember when it happened, the shutdown happened, and I lost $78,000 worth of work out of my diary in the space of 3 days. Yeah. Wow. And that's just counting what was already in the diary. That doesn't count what could have come in the last couple of months. And so I'm hoping we sort of get the clearance again by sort of October, and that way the functions will pick up again for Christmas period, which is my busiest time of the year. And I can get some money coming in again. On a happy note, so I'll just put my glasses back on because you're a blur at the moment. Sort of. Oh, there you are.
Well, I'm curious in wrapping up here, Darren. What do you hope to see from the future of ventriloquism?
Oh, just guys like you. I think it's fantastic. A guy who's, wow, when I was 19, I was still snorting and picking the, you know, picking, what's I say, picking the nose and whatnot. I was a
Right.
little Neanderthal. And to see guys like you coming in, building your own figures and performing so well, I think it's great. I think it's even people like Darcy and Max Fulham in England, and
Yes.
it's just who's the other Jeff Goltz.
Yep.
It's great. All these young people that can actually do it and really do it well, and I think we're pretty safe. I really do. I think it'd be nice to see. What's the one thing that I don't? Oh, well, the thing that Jeff goes on about the most, I think, which is funny. You've got to be funny. You've got to be as funny as possible, and there's been a lot of YouTube clips go up of people that just aren't cracking it. They're not, you spend I don't know who it was, but someone put up the other day, you spend a bit more time writing before you video yourself.
I think that was Conrad Hart's. I think he
That's
was
right. It was Conrad
tired
too.
of all
Yeah.
the posts.
Yeah, and it's quite true. It's not just here. It's not just in ventriloquism. There's so much stuff. I'm still sort of into magic in a hobby way.
Sure.
So I still watch a lot of magicians. There's still a lot of, excuse my French, crap out there that people are they think they can learn a trick and just put it straight up. And then even worse, show people how it's done. But, and even I got still plenty of friends in the music industry, and they just want to perform, which is great. They just want to, look at what I can do. I hope you enjoy what I do. But a lot of it's really bad quality. And even as a stand. Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying that they probably haven't figured out who they are as performers either yet.
Well, there's
they're
all
putting
that
up stuff that they're learning. Yeah.
I think it's just a rush. I think it's just a rush to put stuff up. I've got to put stuff. I've got to put something on, and it's not even because they have to. It's just because everyone else they see is doing it. They feel like they've got to put something up too. Where, it could be bad for you. The stuff that goes on the internet's going to stay around for a long time, and I'm just about to, once I get this new Daryl done, I'll do new photos and a new promo video and all that. Just for when the work comes back, I've got a new package to send out to all the agencies and whatnot. Sure. That way, try and get rid of some of that Australia's Got Talent stuff off the internet and stuff where I used to look like I was just one human being instead of two, and just try and make it look as professional as possible. As he says, standing here with the glare just popping off the top of his head. Holy moly! Look at that. It's the window right there. You don't want to see the back view. Is that better? No. Anyway, doesn't matter.
That works. That's fine.
That's better.
Well, yeah, Darren Carr.
Sorry, I'm by myself. Help me! I've got no one to talk to. No, I should say hello to Glenn Pierce too. Glenn lives 10 minutes away, and he's been a little lifesaver for me because we can actually chat about ventriloquism and do stuff like that. Glenn was supposed to be on the international show this year at the convention, but we can't come now, unfortunately.
Has that been posted officially yet?
No. It's not got nothing to do with the actual convention itself not going ahead.
Oh, okay.
It's just that their flights. Qantas actually announced yesterday that they cancelled all international flights till the end of July. So yeah, we were going to fly with Virgin, and they'll probably do the same. They were supposed to. Actually, they went into liquidation a few days ago. So there's really no way we could get there anyway, and so it's probably not, as I said, we're pretty lucky here in Australia. It's been sort of cut down to the amount of people passing from it. But hopefully it'll do the same in the States soon. It'll start going quietening down a bit. But anyway, we'll just have to make it next year. So
these are strange times, but
weird times.
But, Darren Carr, thank you so much for being part of Landon Live. and for sharing
I'm
your story.
lonely. I'm lonely. I'm lonely. I'm bored. I'm having to do stuff I've never done before.
I'm cutting this and
Like,
using it as the intro to my videos now.
It's like my wedding night. Thanks for the chat. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for being part of Landon Live, Darren. And thank you guys for those of you tuning in.
See ya.
All right. Adios.